Hey, welcome to Horsehead Bookends for another Gaming Friday, but this is going to be uploaded on Saturday because I'm not going to have a chance to cut it and upload it for Friday. But today, it was supposed to be last week. It didn't happen last week, and I was going to do it alone, but I didn't want to because Mike's here. So today we're talking about our top 10 games of 2023. Now, I haven't played a lot of games in 2023. I actually counted, I think I played 20-something.
I played 29.
I played 23. So we're pretty close. I mean, there's a lot of games that came out last year, but I didn't really feel many of them were good. Not to be mean, but anyway, it took me some time to come up with my list. We'll just start with 10 and go to 1, and then we're going to talk about some other things like some honorable mentions, some games that we didn't play, at least me, that I really wanted to play that I didn't get a chance to, and Mike has some honorable mentions on that he's going to talk about.
Let me ask you this, though, before you jump in.
Yes.
How did you come about your list? What was your structure to it? Did you sit and think about it?
I took all the games I played, and I checked, so you can see them, and I have little check marks. The check marks are the ones that I enjoyed playing. Mm-hmm. The ones without the check marks are the ones I really didn't enjoy playing. And I took that, and I grouped them together, and then I kind of cut it down to 10. And then from there, I kind of just listed them out 1 to 10.
So I went and I took a list of every game I played this year. Mm-hmm. And then I threw them into the PubMeeple rankings engine. But then after I did that, I looked at the top 15 and went, now what is my actual ranking out of these? Because while I like that system, in the end, you're going to get things, it's doing a lot of different comparisons, but I wanted to be able to take a look through it and just rearrange it a little more personally than just going based off of algorithms. So that's how I came about with my list.
Let's start with number 10. Number 10 for me is Bot Factory, because Kanban is one of my top games of all time, and I thought Bot Factory was a very cool streamlined version of it, and it kind of would get people into that very heavy Lacerda style worker placement game.
Nice. I actually haven't played Bot Factory yet, so
play
that's
Kanban.
What I'll have to play. I haven't played Kanban either.
Kanban is awesome. We'll play
another
Kanban.
One I haven't played. My 10 is actually a new one, and I have it here with me, which is Fliptown. Fliptown is a draw and write game, but it actually uses a standard 52 card poker deck, and I love it. It's only 3 rounds, but each round gets 5 turns essentially, and you're drawing 3 cards out of the deck. One you use the suit to determine which location you're going to mark off. And then the second one, you're going to use just the number, which is going to be the location in the zone that you've activated. And then the third one, you actually write the number and the suit down in the top right. And after 5 turns in a round, you have a poker hand of the 5 cards that you didn't use. And you get money, you get rewards based off of how well you did there.
All right, number 9. My number 9 is one on the list, and you know what? As I look at it, I'm thinking, I'm like, I'm not sure why it's on here, because it's really my least favorite from these developers, and that is Motor City.
Oh wow! See, I couldn't tell where you were going with it. Motor City, I actually really enjoyed, but I don't think I have that in my top 10
either.
Oh,
see, that's funny, because it's my least. Like, Three Sisters still is by far my favorite. I can't wait to get French Quarter, which just shipping now. And Fleet, I love Fleet. Fleet's so much fun. But it was, I did enjoy it because I really like a lot of the combos in the roll and write, and that's why it was my number 9.
You know, I'll say one thing about Motor City, and I actually have that as my number 15. And one of the things that I had problems with it on was, and I've seen this a couple times in forums, the tracks on the bottom where the test cars go, the car is pointed and the arrow's pointing this way, but the track actually goes the opposite direction. So if you're it's kind of weirdly designed in that way. So in the first couple plays I had, I was very confused. And then I saw other people as well. So
it's a little strange.
My number 9 is one of my favorite publishers, and it was one that snuck in because they delivered 2 this year that I wasn't expecting to both come in the same year, and that's Septima by Mind Clash Games.
Oh, okay. Mine's on the list, but it's higher.
I enjoyed Septima a lot. For Mind Clash Games, that was probably one of their more, I don't want to say lighter, but more easier to get into type of game.
User-friendly.
Very user-friendly. The artwork is absolutely gorgeous. Yeah. The production value with, I'll have to say, getting the potion tiles out of that plastic tray are a little difficult, but it's gorgeous.
All right, moving up to number 8 is, for me, is Distilled. Because I did enjoy it. I do not have my copy anymore because Ian has a copy of it, and Ryan has a copy of it, and Gabe has a copy of it. So I don't need my copy. But it was a fun game about I've played a few games about liquor making. We've played Brew Crafters, which we don't care about.
We're not going to talk about. We don't talk about Brew Crafters.
Yeah. So, but Distilled was actually really fun. I really liked the way it played. It was very cool how the game worked. So I had that as my number 8.
My number 8 is Lunar Rush. And the only reason it's not higher...
It's on my list, too.
The only reason it's not higher is only because it was newer, and a few of the other ones that I played, while also newer, they were a little bit bigger in wow factor for me, so I'll get to it when I get there. But Lunar Rush was a really fantastic bidding for turn order, and this really awesome system of building your tableau and upgrading that production to sell at a market on the way back home. So you're constantly figuring out, am I going to bid first to get back home first because I want to sell stuff at better prices, or do I want to just get up there first so that I could bring more stuff? So that was, I really want to play that at more than 2 players.
Yeah, we're going to play it again because that's on my list too, and I really liked it. All right, number 7, I have Lords of Ragnarok. It is the spiritual successor to Lords of Hellas. I enjoyed Lords of Hellas. I'm not a huge dudes on a map style game. There are a few that I really love, and I think the production value from Awakened Realms on this one was fantastic. And one thing I really loved about it was that it wasn't a lot.
Okay.
Like, Awakened Realms tends to just give you so much. Look, the quality is fantastic. You're getting a ton of game for the money, but there's too much. It's just too much.
And so fast.
And yes. But with Lords of Ragnarok, they kind of kept it really simple. There's only, I think, 2 expansions and a different monster pack that would give different ideas. But I really like what they did and how they streamlined Lord of Hellas. And it was just a lot of fun when I played it, and I enjoyed it, and I would definitely play it again.
Mine, my number 7 is Wild Tiled West.
Oh, see, that just almost hit my list.
Here's the thing. As I was going through and I was picking back and forth which games I would rather play, the reason this one stood out was the different mechanic of which tiles were allowed to be chosen. It reminded me of Planet Unknown with the Lazy Susan, but there was even more randomness because it turns and then that's the depot, or somebody gets to turn it and that's the depot. It's you roll dice and that assigns which tiles are allowed to be purchased. It was
much more stricter, I thought. I love Planet Unknown, but I thought Wild Tiled West was very strict in what you could pick.
Yes.
And at higher player counts, it gets really competitive.
Oh my God, that's why I loved it. I think that's why it made its way to number 7, because when I think back on it, the game that we played with Ryan and the rest of
and Chris,
yes,
Tabletop Express,
with Tabletop Express was such an amazing time, and the game was so tight, and it was just such a cool experience. But that game is very, very strict. There's not a lot of leeway. There's not always a time where you turn Lazy Susan in Planet Unknown and there's a tile in front of you. You're gonna get a tile. Whereas this, you might roll, and there could be a spot where I can't afford that. I don't have a roll.
You can't get anything. Yeah, and you have to. Yeah, and actually, that I like it, but I don't like it because you kind of waste a turn. Like I want to feel like I'm doing something every time, and sometimes when you have to, I don't know. But it really just missed my list. All right, we're at number 6. We're almost the halfway point, almost. So number 6 for me, we've talked about already, and that's Septima from Mind Clash.
Excellent.
Again, love the game. Thought it was awesome. Love the artwork. Love the production quality on it. And it was just an all-around fun game. I don't think I've disliked anything that Mind Clash has made. So
yeah, I don't think I have.
Oh, stop. Cerebria, the card game.
See, I had it. I never officially played it. So
no. Other than that, everything that they made is awesome. So I'm a big fan of Mind Clash.
My number 6, Terraforming Mars, the dice game. We played it here, I think, was the first time I played it.
Yeah.
I brought it, I think it was the day I got it. I brought it and we played.
We learned it, we played it. I destroyed you.
Yes. For a dice version of Terraforming Mars, it was fast.
Yes.
It was rewarding. The amount of cards that were in the deck felt just like Terraforming Mars. And it's such a small package. This box is a nice size. I could throw it in my backpack and take it with me. The dice, I think, are fantastic. The way they're used, I really like. You roll them once, and that's what you've... if you get ones, when you get your income at the start of the round, you get your dice and then you roll them.
All right, number 5, halfway point finally, and another one we've talked about. My number 5 is Lunar Rush.
I
did like it. I kind of liked it a little more than you did. That's just because I felt as it was a very simplified on Mars, which is kind of my favorite Lacerda game. And I really just liked, the entire game was smooth. The way it played, like everything about it was a really great game, and it's refreshing to see something this good from a small publisher.
Oh yeah,
so
it's Aporia Games. Yeah, fantastic.
It was. I was super impressed with it, and it is definitely. It breached the top 5. So it's number 5 for me.
My number 5 is a 2-player only game, and that is Sky Team. I love Landed Me Some Planes. Sorry, I keep rubbing my eyes. I really enjoy Sky Team, though. I also have a weird obsession with watching a lot of flight videos and stuff, so landing an airplane is kind of right up my alley. I always wanted to fly, but I can't. So I'm terrified of flying, but I wanted to be a pilot all my life. So it's a nice little, dice rolling game, and you're taking turns. There's limited communication. You're trying to land this plane in a certain amount of rounds. You don't want to get to the airport you can get to the airport early, but then you don't want to overrun it, and you got to make sure that there's no airplanes in front of you.
I've never played it. We're going to have to bring it by.
It's quite fantastic. Yeah. I enjoy it a lot. And there's a lot of scenarios and little modules that make some changes to it as well.
All right, number 4 is a solo only game, and I really don't play solo games just because I can't be bothered to set them up and then break them down. I'd rather just pick up a video game or Steam Deck, and that is Hoplomachus Victorum. I loved the original, and when they re-implemented it in 2023, I wasn't going to buy it, but Mike made me. So I got it, and just because he brought it by and he showed me, he's like, look at this, and look at this, and look at the way this sets up, and you have this, and I went, oh, that really looks nice. So I did buy it and I've played it, and it's really the only solo game that I will take out and set up and play because it's actually really, really enjoyable.
But unfortunately, that wasn't my number 4, right? That was your number 4.
Yes. What is your
my
number 4?
number 4 is one you probably have not played, and that's actually Last Light by Roy Cannaday from the Dice Tower.
Oh, yeah.
I have to say, and I don't know how many fans of ours are huge fans of theirs. I don't know if anybody from Dice Tower watches it, but when I first saw the box and I saw the design, I was kind of underwhelmed by the design of the board. It was, to me, it just looked a little blank. It looked silly to me at first, right? That was just me judging something based off of its cover. I just looked at it and said, the style looks interesting. I don't think I'd be into it.
I've been there and I agree with you. I've looked at games and said, I have no desire to play it, and I've turned around and loved it.
That game is fun.
Top 3. We're in the top 3 right now. So my number 3 is by a designer that I've absolutely fell in love with in the past year and a half. And it is Bamboo from German Milan and Devere Games. This game is amazing. I think his game last year, Sabika, was number 2 on my list, or number 3. And prior to that, Batoku was like my number 1 game. I want more from this designer. It's such a great game. You play a family in I guess feudal Japan, and you are tending this bamboo field, and as you grow more bamboo, you push out some other bamboo, which you get to build different parts of your house. And one tricky thing is, in your house you have to have balance in the house, so depending on where you put it on what side of the house, you have to balance both sides to make it uniform. It's just, the game is so beautifully done, and it is fantastic. And Devere Games has been like, they came to everything. I don't think I've played a bad. Well, I've played games from Devere that I haven't liked, but the game itself has been beautiful. Yeah. Like, they just did, their quality is fantastic, really, and I think Lacrimosas right there. It's a fantastic game. We played it. It's so good.
That was also fantastic.
So that Bamboo is definitely my number 3.
My number 3, I'm going back up to space, but not probably where you think I'm going to space. But we're going with Bees in Space for Apiary from Stonemaier. And
I want to play it.
I really like it.
Do you have it?
I don't, but my friend RJ has. And
okay.
I'm sure he will let us borrow it.
Okay.
I really enjoyed that one for a couple of reasons. And it's probably going to be me saying the same stuff all over and over in all these, but I love when there's a lot of variability, right? So it was the same thing in Last Light. There was a ton of variability with the different factions that you could be. It's the same thing in Apiary. I think there's 28 different factions, and then there's a bunch of different homeworlds that you could use. And so the bees, I really loved the idea of, you send a bee out, it's a specific value, and after a while, as the bees level up, they then hibernate.
All right, number 2. Now, I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this one because it might not be considered a board game, but I really enjoyed it, and it did have a lot of problems with the launch, and that is going to be Lorcana from Ravensburger, because I'm a huge Diz nerd. I absolutely loved it. I was able to get a good amount of cards for the very first set. Then I saw a lot of places were price gouging, and I decided not to buy any. So I got some of the second Rise of the Floodborn from some friends who got extra, and then now it's available everywhere. So I'm going to be buying up these cards for pennies on the dollar, because all the people who thought they were going to make bank, well, you know what, I'm not going to buy it. So hopefully it'll get into the hands of true gamers, and that they can play it, because I am a sucker for a great CCG. I've been addicted to Magic for many years, and I'm trying to fight the addiction. But every so often, I go back and just have to shoot some Magic into the veins. So it's actually really enjoyable, and I've created a lot of decks, and I've played the game a whole lot, and it's so much fun. It's so easy, and being a huge Disney fan, it hits something special for me, and I put it on the list. And go ahead and give me the finger in the comments below, because I enjoy it.
My number 2 is still in space. Voidfall.
Really?
Yes. I love Voidfall. Everything in that box is massive. It's intimidating when you first look at it, but I love the mechanics of that one as well. The civilization tracks on your board, I think we played only once or twice, I think, with some of the advanced houses. I really like some of the asymmetrical boards for all of the other houses, aside from the first 4. And the amount of different tech that comes in based on the houses that are in play, you really never get the same type of game twice. And going back to what I was talking about with Last Light, that card play system where I have a series of cards and I'm going to play a card, and then now the difference is with Voidfall, you're only going to have a certain amount of actions per era depending on what the card says. So, there's some difference there, so you're not going to be able to just play whatever you want. You really need to look at the number of actions that you're going to have in that round, look at those cards that you have, and really math out and game out what you can get done and what order you're going to do things in order to maximize the amount of points.
My number 1 for me is Voidfall.
There we go. I knew it.
I've not played a game. It's one of those games that as soon as you're done playing, you want to reset and play again. You want to play another scenario. You want to play it over and over again. You want to try out all the new factions. You want to try this strategy. You want to try that strategy. Again, Mind Clash games. It was by far my favorite game that I played in 2023 because I want to play it all the time.
It's gorgeous.
I definitely want to play it all the time.
So my number 1, again, back up into space. Evacuation!
Which is upside down.
Evacuation. Evacuation is... Alright, so here's the thing, man. Evacuation is only 4 rounds. There are so many different ways to play that game. Number 1, I have never played a game where you start with all of your production already. Your civilization is fully up to speed on old planet, but you have to dismantle it and ship it over. And you know what? At the end of each round, you're required to either pay a certain amount of food. So at the beginning of the round, you pay food, and at the end of the round, you have to have a certain amount of entertainment on either planet because you're shipping people over there, and they want entertainment when they get there. So the difference between having resources being produced on your old planet, different resources being produced on your new planet, you have to literally take actions to dismantle your infrastructure, buy ships, and transport stuff from one location to the other. But it costs energy to do so. Extra actions that you can take as many actions as you want on your turn, as long as you have the energy to pay for it. Do you produce enough energy to pay for it? Probably not. So it's a really challenging balance of taking your actions in the right order to maximize taking this stuff off of the planet. Now, once you do that and you get them loaded up, you now have to take the action to populate the new planet. And when you do so, you're going to increase your production on the new planet. And that whole thing, right, is just such an amazing concept. And that new world, that can get populated in... not in any order, but we have access to zones at a time, and it doesn't matter where you place. It's just as long as which one do you want to place on? There may be some goals for it or something like that.
It's one that I definitely want to play. So I definitely look forward to playing that. But so there we have it. Those are our top 10. Now we're going to talk about some other things, about the top 10 games that we wish we played, or ones that were disappointing, or honorable mentions. I'm going to just start with just to be mean, and not really be mean, but one of the games that I was super disappointed in 2023 was Nucleum. I played it. Last year in 2022, Simone Luciani made Teletum. It was my favorite game. It still is. It's definitely in the top 20 games of all time for me. I enjoyed it so much. He also worked on parts of Barrage. You had David Tercey, who did it too, and I'm a fan of some of his games, especially some of his solo modes with Mind Clash. And when Nucleum came out, I was super excited to get it. It was very similar to Brass, which is one of my favorite games of all time, and it had some similarities to Barrage. And when we actually played it, Mike is trying to hold back laughter because he knows exactly what I'm going to say. It was just not good. We found just things just didn't work out the way that we thought we would when we played the game. So by all means, it is not a bad game, and please don't take this the wrong way. I'm not just shitting on this game. It is a good game. It's just, I prefer, like, if I'm going to play a game along that style, I think just Brass is above and beyond just a better game. But by all means, enjoy it if you like it. It is a good game. It's just not one for me. So that's it. That was my biggest disappointment. I don't know if you want to have a disappointment, or you just want to skip past the disappointing.
Listen, I had top three disappointments, and to be honest with you, that was my number 2 disappointment. It was just, I was expecting more from it, and when we played it, the mechanics and everything that I was doing didn't make me feel like I was doing anything with nuclear power, and I just didn't feel like I was doing anything, and the theme didn't connect with me. It just didn't work for me. So I'll tell you, my number 1 most disappointed, and it was mostly because it was hyped up so much, was Thunder Road Vendetta, and I know I'm gonna get cracked for that too, but I just didn't like it. I get it. It was from our childhood, but I hate take-that games to begin with, and it just was too much of a, like, it's just, to me, it's not a game. It's a take-that, like, it's a party game. You get a couple friends over, we're having fun, we don't know what to play. Joe and Bob have never played a game before, play this, and, they get eliminated, they walk out and go, who cares, I'll go have a beer. That's what it felt like to me, and the person my biggest,
it wasn't so disappointing for me. I think the problem was that in order for the game to be fun, you'd have to implement a ton of house rules to make it enjoyable for everybody. And once you start implementing house rules, the game shouldn't have house rules to make it good or fun. And it was, I wasn't as disappointed as you, but it just wasn't a game that just wasn't for me. So, what do you have for, like, your honorable mention? What is one game that, like, was so close to making the list?
All right, so one I'm going to give an honorable mention, but it wasn't that it almost made the list. I don't consider it a 2023 game because it's a re-implementation or a special edition, so it's not a new game. It's the same game, it's just reprinted and it's out again now. So
Raw.
No, not Raw. The Castles of Burgundy Special Edition.
Oh yeah.
It's gorgeous.
Is it worth it? That's the question. Right. Is it, because it's very expensive? It's very what's the word? Geek up, glow up.
Well, so that's
it's nice. Thing. It's very nice. It's fancy. For about $150, you could get the base game, but it doesn't have any of the acrylic tokens in it. But why?
I don't know. The acrylic tokens are absolutely amazing. Production-wise, absolutely gorgeous. If I could find a decent copy with all of the acrylics, yeah, I would 100% put it in my collection. I would prefer that to the 10th anniversary one, or whatever the last one was in the burgundy box.
I have the 10th anniversary. That's the one I think it's down there. It's down behind me.
Yep, right behind you there.
Yeah. So I have that one. I like Castle of Burgundy. I think it's a fantastic game, but I'm just not paying for the special edition.
You don't, and that's the thing. It's not necessary, but it's
nice.
It's fun and
look,
it's nice.
I you know what? I can't really complain about that because I buy like miniatures for extra miniature pieces, extra special neoprene mats.
Yeah.
It makes a certain game nice, but I think for a game that's classic like that, for it to charge such a premium for the extras,
right.
I think that's what a lot of people had an issue with, and I think that's kind of what I had an issue with. But because my copy is pretty good. I mean, granted, I have the 3D Catan.
Well, you know who produced it too, right?
Who?
Awakened Realms. So I'll tell you one thing, and this isn't really not
Awakened Realms makes nice stuff though. 2023 again. There's a lot of games that came out last year. I think that we're really hitting critical mass with the board gaming community as far as games that are out. I mean, variety is always a great thing, but when there's too much variety, when developers and publishers are putting out 2-3 games a year, when we've barely scratched the surface on the game they put out the year before, it's really hard to keep up with the next newest game. So hopefully in 2024, maybe we'll see a little bit of slowdown, a little bit more quality control put into the games.
Yeah.
And games, we don't need new games every year. So develop the games that you have in the pipeline and just make it a great experience. And I understand that people are always hankering for the next new thing, but sometimes waiting a while, taking a step back and let people completely enjoy the game as a whole before presenting them with the next new thing, it will be a lot more better for the community. And I'm sure that will definitely be a topic. I think I talked about a podcast that we're going to start doing this year. Hopefully, we will definitely bring that up in a topic because it's something I definitely want to talk about. And I mentioned it, I think, 2 years ago with board game gluttony. And I really want to tackle this topic, and I'm sure we'll have a bunch of people that will join in because we're really at critical mass right now. And there are games that I love new games, but please let us enjoy them. Let us enjoy the game that you made.
And also just polish them. For God's sake, polish them. There's so many times, I can't tell you how many BGG posts, there's errors in rulebooks, there's things misspelled, there's examples that are incorrect, and then there's 5 different rulebooks in PDF, and yeah, we all get told that the best thing to do is find the living version of the PDF, but you know what, maybe finish the book before it gets published a little bit more, and let people play the damn game before you make an expansion, because Nucleum has already got an expansion. They're taking pre-orders as of this morning, and that game just came out last month. I don't understand why there's an expansion for it already, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Actually, I am saying it's a bad thing.
But if you have
it just came out.
Just build it into the game.
Just build it in.
Make it simple.
6 months and put it in.
Yeah. So anyway, that's that. Top 10 games. We will be back throughout the course of the year with a bunch of new stuff, reviews. Unboxings, sort of, but I try not to do them anymore. So we're going to do a lot more playthroughs, a lot more reviews.
It's too hard to do unboxings. I unbox everything as soon as I get them. I get excited.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, they'll just come and I'll just make a pile. But I'm not buying anything this year. I'm really not buying any games because I want to go back and play through all the games I have and show you what great games have came out over the past 10, 15 years, that you don't need all these new games. There's so many great ones out there if you don't want to be part of the cult of the new and have the newest hotness, but I'm sure we'll be playing it.
Let's bring some of the old hotness back.
Yeah, old hotness. Reignite the flames.
We're gonna reignite it.
Yep. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Please also don't forget to click on subscribe and ring the notification bell. You'll get notified anytime I upload a new video. Questions or comments, feel free to post it below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Otherwise, talk to you later.